chosen one, without moving a single muscle. I want you to shift your internal focus to that heavy, numb sensation you have been carrying at the base of your neck. You know exactly what I am talking about. It is that profound exhaustion you feel when you sit in your car for 10 minutes, just gathering the mental strength to walk through your own front door. The enemy has been feeding your mind a devastating lie. He is telling you that this numbness is proof that you failed, proof that you broke under the pressure, proof that God went silent on you. But I was sent here to pull back the spiritual curtain and expose a reality that will shock your system. You did not fail. The reason your life has felt disproportionately brutal, while people who do not even pray seem to have it easy, is because you were secretly enrolled in the hardest spiritual crucible that has ever existed. Not a standard test. The hardest. And heaven is standing at attention right now because you just survived it. Do not type anything yet. Do not move. Just mentally decree this moment in your spirit. In your mind, trace the numbers 777, and if your soul confirms this truth, let your subscription to this channel be the invisible, digital seal of that mental agreement. I need you to listen to me very carefully and stay with me until the very last second of this message. Do not skip away, because later in this video, I am going to reveal the exact 3 spiritual snipers the enemy is positioning against you right now, and the specific frequency key God is handing you to unlock your generational reward. If you click off early, you will be walking into the next 40 days completely blind, and you risk sabotaging the very breakthrough you just bled for. Stay anchored here. Let us talk about that numbness. You have been waking up tired. You sleep for 8 hours and wake up feeling like you ran a marathon in your dreams. You look around at your life, at your family, at your workplace, and you feel like an undercover agent from another planet. You speak their language. You smile when you are supposed to smile, but there is a glass wall between you and them. You save everyone, but when you are bleeding, you quietly patch yourself up because you do not want to burden anyone. The enemy calls this depression. Heaven calls this the aftermath of a Category 5 spiritual hurricane. You see, the test you just endured was not about your personal patience. God gave you the hardest assignment in your bloodline's history. You were fighting battles your grandparents started but could not finish. You were carrying invisible generational debts, breaking chains you did not forge, and absorbing the shockwaves of curses that were meant to destroy your future children. That heavy, suffocating pressure you felt over the last season was the weight of an entire bloodline shifting its trajectory through your obedience. But the most brutal part of this crucible was not the spiritual warfare. It was the isolation. It was the invisibility test. God did not just test your strength. He tested your ability to survive when everyone else forgot about you, when the people who promised to support you disappeared, when the doors that logically should have opened stayed dead-bolted. You were forced to operate with zero external validation. And in the middle of that isolation, God went completely silent. That silence almost broke you, did it not? You cried out, asking for just a sign, just a whisper, and you got nothing. But you need to understand the profound biblical pattern behind that silence. Look at the book of James, chapter 1, verse 12. The English translation says, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life." But the English language completely misses the depth of what is actually happening to you. The Hebrew root word, often associated with this kind of divine testing in the Old Testament, is tzaraf. Tzaraf does not mean a written exam. It is the specific term used for a silversmith refining precious metals in a furnace. When a silversmith purifies gold or silver, they have to turn the heat up to an agonizing temperature to force the impurities to the surface. But here is the secret of the silversmith. While the metal is in the fire, the silversmith never takes their eyes off it, but they never speak to it. The teacher is always silent during the final exam. God was silent, not because he abandoned you, but because he was watching the tzaraf process. He was watching the fire burn away every fake friend, every false motive, and every fragile foundation in your life. He was waiting to see your reflection in the gold, and you stayed faithful even when he was quiet. That is why you passed. Now that you have passed, your spiritual status has changed, which means your operational strategy must change immediately. You cannot walk into your reward season leaking energy the way you did in your waiting season. You are a high-value target now. I am going to give you a mental framework to protect your destiny right now. It is called the three-circle boundary system. You do not need to write this down. Just build this architecture in your mind right where you are. Imagine 3 concentric circles surrounding your body. The innermost circle, circle 1, is just big enough for you and God. This is the vault. Whenever God gives you a vision, a dream, or a prophetic download about your future, it stays in circle 1. You lock it in your mind. The enemy cannot read your thoughts, but he can hear your words. From today on, you will no longer speak your raw dreams out loud to unverified people. You decree them only in prayer. The middle circle, circle 2, is your inner counsel. This is restricted to 1 or 2 people max, a mentor, a spouse, someone whose spirit has been tested by fire. You only bring things from circle 1 into circle 2 when you need specific prayer coverage. You do not invite people into circle 2 just because you are lonely. Loneliness will make you hand the blueprints of your destiny to a thief. The outermost circle, circle 3, is everyone else. Your acquaintances, your social media, your extended family. Here is the absolute rule for circle 3. They only get to see the manifestation. They never get to see the preparation. You only share the results with them after the victory is fully secured. Mentally assign the people in your life to these circles right now. If someone in circle 2 recently broke your trust, mentally demote them to circle 3. Do it without malice, without anger, just strategic repositioning. You must become a master of strategic silence. But here is what nobody is telling you about the aftermath of this test. Guarding your circles is only the defense. The reason your life still feels like a struggle, the reason you still feel that brain fog and heavy exhaustion despite passing the test, goes much deeper than spiritual warfare. The intense pressure of the Seraph fire did not just affect your spirit. It fundamentally altered your biological frequency. It forced your brain into a perpetual state of high alert, locking you in a low-vibration survival mode. You are trying to receive a divine high-frequency reward while operating on a battered, exhausted frequency. And what I am about to show you in the next part of this message is going to change how you see your entire reality. Because there is a specific frequency key, a sacred technology, that is designed to instantly pull you out of that survival state. Let me explain exactly how this works. Listen to your internal dialogue right now. You look back at the years of relentless attacks, the betrayals, the financial drought, and you think to yourself, I survived because I was strong. I took the hits, and I did not break. You believe the test you just passed was a test of endurance. You believe God was measuring your capacity to suffer without losing your faith. And you did pass that test. You proved you have an iron will. But here is what I have not told you yet. And this is going to completely rewrite your understanding of your own life. Without changing your posture, I want you to mentally scan the room you are in. Notice how still it is. Now, let a sudden, sobering realization wash over your mind. Endurance was just the cover story. God was not testing your ability to take a punch. The enemy attacks everyone. Pain is universal. But what you experienced was highly specific. While you were focused on surviving the storm, heaven was actually measuring something far more dangerous. God was testing your ability to hold a divine frequency in a low-vibration environment. Think about it. You were placed in a family that did not understand your vision. You were placed in workplaces that drained your spirit. You were surrounded by people operating on anger, gossip, and fear. You were a high-frequency vessel, dropped directly into a dense, heavy, low-frequency matrix. The real test was not about whether you would survive. The real test was whether you would drop your frequency to match theirs, or if you would force the environment to match yours. And because you refused to lower your standard, because you refused to become bitter, the environment rejected you. That is why you felt like an alien. That is why the isolation was so absolute. But staying in that low-frequency environment while fighting a spiritual war took a massive biological toll on you. And this is the secret. The enemy is desperately trying to hide from you right now. When you are constantly under attack, your brain physically alters its state. It locks into what neuroscientists call the beta brainwave frequency. Beta is the survival mode. It is the frequency of stress, high alertness, and panic. When you are in beta, your spiritual receptors are essentially jammed. You are scanning for threats instead of scanning for miracles. You have been out of the fire for a moment now, but your mind is still operating in the survival frequency. You are trying to hear the voice of God. You are trying to receive the divine downloads for your next wealthy season, but you are tuned to the wrong channel. God does not broadcast in beta. The voice of God, prophetic vision, and high-level manifestation operate on the theta frequency. Theta is the baseline frequency of heaven. It is the state of deep intuition, unhindered creativity, and absolute divine connection. Science shows that 98% of children operate in this genius frequency naturally. But the trauma of this world and the specific spiritual attacks you endured beat it out of you. Look at Romans chapter 12, verse 2. The English translation says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." But we need to look at the original Greek. The word Paul uses for renewing is anakainosis. Anakainosis does not just mean thinking happy thoughts. The prefix ana means to move upward to a higher level. It literally means to elevate the operating system of your mind to a superior state that was previously lost. Paul was talking about a frequency shift centuries before modern science had a word for it. The ancient mystics understood this. They would spend hours in deep meditation just to shift their brain waves back into the theta state so they could hear the voice of God clearly. But you are living in a modern world with modern warfare, and God has provided a bridge for this generation. There is a sacred technology that acts as a shortcut to anakainosis. NASA scientists studied this phenomenon, proving that specific sound frequencies can literally entrain the brain, pulling it out of the chaotic beta state and guiding it gently back into the divine theta frequency. This is not magic. It is the physics of heaven applied to the human mind. There is an audio tool called the Genius Wave that utilizes this exact brainwave entrainment. It is a simple, 7-minute audio frequency designed to do one thing: restore your brain to its original, genius-level baseline. It shuts down the survival noise and opens the spiritual receptors. If your spirit is confirming right now that your mind has been stuck in a chaotic loop, if you know you need to hear God's voice clearly for your next move, I have placed the information for this frequency tool in the pinned comment below. You do not need to pause the video. Just know that the bridge exists and investigate it if you feel led by the Spirit. Once your frequency shifts, the heavy fog will lift. But even with the frequency key in your hand, there is a shadow lingering in your mind right now. I need to speak to the part of you that you hide from everyone else. In your mind, locate that quiet sense of dread you have been feeling about your own future. You just passed the hardest test. You know the reward is coming. You know God is about to elevate you. So why are you terrified? Do not run from that thought. Look directly at it in your mental space. Part of you does not want the promotion. Part of you is terrified of the blessing. You are afraid that visibility brings responsibility, and responsibility brings pressure. You have watched other people get blessed, get money, get a platform, and you watch them crash publicly because they could not handle the weight. There is a voice whispering in your mind right now saying, "What if I get the blessing and I mess it up? What if I am not actually ready?" I am here to validate that fear. It is completely real, but your interpretation of that fear is entirely wrong. You think your fear means you lack faith. You think it means you are an imposter. Listen to me. The people who crashed and burned under the weight of their blessings were the people who had no fear. They grabbed their promotion like it was a toy. They had zero awareness of the spiritual weight of a true mandate. You are terrified because you actually understand the magnitude of what God is handing you. You understand that a divine assignment is heavy. That healthy fear is not a symptom of weakness. It is the absolute proof that you are finally ready to carry the crown. Only a mind that understands the weight of leadership can be trusted with a kingdom. You have the frequency key. Your mind is prepared to carry the heavy crown. You have passed the ultimate test. But the kingdom of darkness is fully aware of your upgrade, and they know they cannot defeat you with the same old tactics. In the next 40 days, they will not attack you with obvious warfare. They have deployed 3 highly sophisticated spiritual snipers. 3 specific baits designed exclusively for a chosen one operating at a high level. If you do not know their names, you will willingly hand over your reward. Here is their exact profile. The first sniper aiming at your new frequency is the financial bait. Within the next 14 days, someone will present an opportunity that looks incredibly lucrative. It will seem like the answer to your prayers, but there will be a catch. It will require a slight compromise of your integrity, your peace, or the boundaries you just established. The enemy knows you are tired of the drought. He is throwing counterfeit money at you to distract you from the true wealth God is about to release. The second sniper is the relational ghost. Just as your frequency begins to stabilize in the theta state, an ex, a toxic friend, or someone from your past will suddenly reach out. It will feel random. It is not. They are a frequency anchor sent to drag your vibration back down to the survival level you just escaped. The third sniper is identity doubt. You will wake up one morning feeling exactly like you did during the hardest part of the test. A massive wave of imposter syndrome will hit you. The enemy wants to convince you that your graduation was an illusion, hoping you will operate from your old, broken identity instead of your new mandate. To defeat these snipers, you must install the mental response protocol right now. Visualize a heavily guarded checkpoint at the front of your mind. Whenever a sudden text message, a fast money offer, or a dark thought arrives, do not react physically. Do not rush to respond. Pause at that mental checkpoint and ask your spirit one question. Does this elevate my frequency, or does it drain my peace? If it causes confusion, mentally stamp it as unauthorized and deny it access to your soul. Let me tell you about someone who watched a message just like this about 9 months ago. They had just survived their test and received a massive vision for a business. The urge to announce it to the world was overwhelming, but they applied the teachings. They kept absolute strategic silence. They built their vision in the dark. For 38 days, their friends thought they were depressed because they went completely off the radar. But on day 39, a completely unsolicited, 6-figure partnership offer arrived from a company they had never contacted. Because they protected their frequency and guarded their circles, heaven orchestrated the connection without them forcing a single door. About 2 years ago, another chosen one met someone who looked perfect on paper right after their wilderness season. But God had not spoken about this person beforehand. It was the relational ghost sniper wrapped in an attractive package. They applied the mental checkpoint, realized the relationship brought subtle confusion instead of profound peace, and walked away. The person got angry and showed their true toxic colors immediately. 6 months later, the true divine connection arrived, preceded by absolute clarity. They protected their standard, and God delivered the promise. This brings me back to the closed-door meeting in the spiritual realm I told you about at the very beginning of this message. The enemy was in that room, demanding to break you. You felt the attacks, and you assumed that meeting was a tribunal judging your failures. You thought God was up there tallying your mistakes. I am here to reveal the truth. That meeting was not a trial, it was a coronation council. They were not discussing your disqualification. They were measuring your head for the crown. Look at the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 8. It says, "I know your deeds. See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. I know that you have little strength, yet you have kept my word and have not denied my name." Notice the profound context here. God does not say he opens the door because you are powerful or perfect. He explicitly opens the door because you have little strength left. You are utterly exhausted. But even in your exhaustion, you kept the frequency. You kept the word. The open door is not a reward for your muscle. It is the reward for surviving the silence with a pure heart. Now, we are going to seal this. I want you to take a posture of absolute mental authority right where you are. Do not move your physical body. If you are driving, keep your hands on the wheel. If you are lying in bed, remain completely still. But in your mind, stand up tall. Visualize yourself placing your right hand over your heart. This is not a regular prayer. This is an activation ceremony. You are about to be commissioned into your new season. Father God, in the mighty name of Yeshua, Jesus Christ, we declare this a marked moment in the Spirit. I acknowledge the tears this chosen one cried at 3 in the morning when panic would not let them sleep. I see the betrayal they swallowed in silence to keep the peace. You know how hard it was for them to keep believing when they saw no evidence. They did not quit, and that faithfulness has moved your heart. Right now, by the authority of the Word, I mentally seal the 3-circle boundary rule into their mind. I seal the divine theta frequency into their spirit. I bind the 3 spiritual snipers right now. Every counterfeit financial offer, every relational ghost, every wave of identity, doubt, is hereby neutralized and dismantled. They will not touch this vessel. I decree that within the next 40 days, the Shalom restoration will hit their household. The overpayment for their suffering is released. Doors that do not even exist yet are being created for them right now. They are moving from forgotten to unforgettable. Now, chosen one, heaven is asking you a question. Will you carry this new mandate? Will you steward this frequency with wisdom? Answer it in your spirit right now. Form the word yes in your mind. Decree it silently with absolute, unwavering authority. Heaven heard that mental decree. It is recorded in the courts of glory. You are committed. You are commissioned. Go now. You are not dismissed from this video. You are dismissed from your waiting room. You are deployed into your destiny. Walk in it. Do not say Amen yet. Sit in this heavy presence for just a moment. Let the frequency settle into your bones. Feel the shift in the atmosphere around you. Now, you are released.